Mic's in. All right. Morning, everyone. I'm Patrick Earl, Economic Development Officer for Wheatland County, and I'd like to welcome you to our Small Business Week conversation with Amrita Gurney, Vice President of Marketing with CrowdRiff. Amrita is the Vice President of Marketing and Community at CrowdRiff, where she leads a team responsible for marketing, brand design, and customer community. She is a frequent speaker at travel and tourism events around the globe. Amrita loves digital marketing, contemporary art, drinking tea, and recently fulfilled a lifelong dream of traveling to all of the 7 continents. Welcome, Amrita.
Thank you, Patrick. It's really nice to be here. And I think it's always good to recognize our small businesses. I know this year has been an especially hard one for everyone. So I'm happy to do my part to help give you some ideas around how to get the attention of the people that you want to come to your destination and support your business or experience. And so over the next 20 to 30 minutes, I'll be walking you through the role of visuals in particular. And again, thank you to Wheatland County, to Patrick for inviting me to come and speak. All right, thank you. So one thing that I always like to do is to offer, if there are questions that come after the presentation, happy to connect with you. You can email me. You can also reach me on social media, either on Instagram or on Twitter. And the other thing I wanted to point out is that we have a lot of free content on our blog. So if you go to our website, you'll see everything from other presentations to ebooks to blog posts that will help you hopefully navigate this year in particular, but also just learn how to do digital marketing and use visuals more effectively. So, I was thinking about reflecting on this year. I mean, I can't believe it's already almost the end of October, and this has been such a tough year, a year of change, which is of course obvious. And, at the same time, I was thinking about what is the travel experience like for locals and travelers, and what has potentially changed, what has stayed the same. And the reason why I'm here to talk about visuals is because we still see very much that even in a year like 2020, people are still relying on visuals to either dream about where to go, or if you want to explore your region, for example, or explore locally, it can help you make decisions about what to do, what to experience, what to buy. And that hasn't changed. We've seen, certainly new channels like TikTok have just, again, shown us that visuals can be so hugely impactful. And it's not just any visuals. I would say that user-generated content, which is like what you see here in my social media post that I posted a few years ago. Last year, actually, feels like a few years ago. Last year when I was in Pittsburgh, I was at a museum, and I do this often when I travel, where I love to show people what I'm doing. And so when you see photos like this, they're definitely not taken by a professional photographer. It's just a very natural and authentic expression of something that I'm doing. And this kind of content we've seen is really impactful. In fact, it's not just us saying that. We've seen this from lots of other people who have actually done studies that show that 2/3 of travelers actually really rely on this content, especially now that everyone is online on social media. It's not just something for young people or millennials. We see people in every age group using user-generated content for these purchase decisions. And I would say the second stat, which you see here, which is that 92% of people trust word of mouth over advertising. This has been around for a few years now, and there are a number of reasons why, which we don't have to get into in this presentation. But I think the real point here is that you have the tools yourself to actually harness this amazing content, and we're going to spend the next little while talking about how. So first of all, you probably want to know, how do I actually get these visuals? That photo of, my visitor in my cafe or at a gift shop or in a museum, that looks great, Amrita, but how do I actually find these and get my hands on these? So as I'm going to share how you do this, the most important thing to remember is if you are going to want to use anyone else's photos or videos, you need to get permission. This is content that they've posted, and it's best practice to get permission before you use their photos and videos. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later in the presentation. So how do you actually get these authentic visuals? This may sound very obvious, but most businesses don't actually ask their customers or visitors to tag them when they post their content. So how do you actually ask people to tag your business? You can certainly ask them in person if you see them, but more and more we're seeing that, you may not always have that opportunity to ask face to face. And so there are lots of ways inside your business or online that you can also be doing this. So if you are a store, for example, that has place for signage, it could be in your window, it could be next to your, cashier desk. Really encourage people to post and take these photos. So this is an example from a larger museum, which is the ROM here in Toronto. But I think the point that they make here is something that anyone could benefit from. So they have signage in their museum that says photography is encouraged, and they actually share the hashtag that they want you to use. So definitely think about your physical space, but then also, of course, your digital space. So every time you post on social media or when you think about what's in your bio, make sure that you're actually asking for this content and letting people know that you want to use this content. And you'll be surprised at how many people start doing this when they know that you are interested in it and when you've asked them for that prompt. The next thing, which is very straightforward, and you can do this especially very easily on either Facebook or Instagram, I'm going to show you this example from Instagram, is that you can search for your location tag. So there are a lot of people who may be doing things around your destination that may not know your handle or your hashtag. That is very common. I would say, if I had to guess, I'd say less than 10% of the content out there is actually using the right hashtag because people may not know what it is, which means there's a lot of content out there that you could be using. So this is an example from our CEO, actually, Dan. He was recently in Sandbanks Provincial Park with his wife. Now, Dan is a very avid traveler and very savvy, so he did go to that step of, tagging and using the hashtags for Ontario and Ontario parks. But if you look at the top of this first image, you'll see that he's located this photo or tagged this photo with the location of Sandbanks Provincial Park. And then if you click on that location tag, you'll see what's on the right here, which is tons and tons of content around the park. So this is a way to find this content so you can start seeing who out there might be tagging your business, because your business may not even be aware that that person has posted that content if they've only tagged the location and they haven't tagged your hashtag or your handle. And then last but not least, contests are always a great way to get people to share their content. And you can do this in a couple of ways. I'm just going to share a couple of different examples here. This one is from the Denver Art Museum. So they have a contest where every week they feature a fan favorite, and right in their caption when they post that featured photo, they specifically say, tag a friend and enter to be next week's fan favorite. They give away 2 tickets, I believe, to visit their museum. You could give away a special package. In some cases, you don't even have to give anything away. You could just say that you're going to, appreciate this person by putting them in the spotlight. And some people are just happy with that recognition. So choose whatever's within your means and use this as a way to encourage people to post this content. The other thing you can do is a more traditional contest, like this contest that's being run by Visit South Bend in Indiana. So they are currently running a contest because they want to get more content of people traveling around their destination safely, specifically wearing masks. And so they have a dedicated page on their website where they ask people to enter this contest, and they ask for permission for the photo. So when you upload the photo, you have to agree to some terms and conditions. And you can do this in a number of ways. They work with CrowdRiff, so we have a tool that they can use to upload that content. But you can do this using Google Forms or any other free tools that are out there as well, if you want to create a similar kind of page on your website or maybe link to it from your social media handle. So let's say you've done these 3 things and you've gotten all of this great content. What do you actually do with this? Well, one of the things that we really want to share with people is that today especially, you want to make sure that if you're going to the effort of finding this content, that you really look to other ways to amplify this. So we're going to spend maybe another 5 or 10 minutes talking about that before we wrap up. So amplifying your visual stories, first of all, as I mentioned, really make sure that you are reusing this content with permission. So if you see something that you really like that someone has posted on social media, ask them for permission. And this is one example of some recommendations that we give and an example from Visit Phoenix. So in terms of getting approval, we get asked this all the time. Do people really want to let me use their photo? And I would say, for the most part, yes, but it really depends. If they're a professional photographer posting something, they're really looking to license that image, which is totally understandable. They do this for a living. And if you have the budget to license photography from them, great. This is a great way to find photographers. On the other hand, there are also people like you and I who are just everyday, visitors, and we're posting this content really more for our own pleasure or to share with our friends and family. And so we're not really looking to get paid. But again, we are human. We do want to be acknowledged. So if you are asking for permission, start your post by saying something really nice. So when you see this image here, which is an Instagram post that somebody made around this particular experience in Phoenix, you can see in red, I've highlighted that Visit Phoenix left a comment on their post saying, this is great. May we have the rights to use it in our marketing? If so, please reply with this hashtag. You can do it by posting publicly like this. You could do it by DMing them. I do find posting publicly tends to get a bit of a better response because people don't always see their DMs, or the DMs might go into a different inbox. So again, compliment the person, use natural language. There are people who, of course, there's bots out there, and so no one wants to talk to someone who sounds like they're a bot. Just be yourself. Even if you're posting on behalf of your business, you can still be very human, and then be clear about what you're asking for. So in this case, Visit Phoenix is asking for rights to marketing and promotions. Some people may want to use it specifically on social media. However you decide you want to use this, just make sure that you're being really clear so that when someone says yes, they know what they're saying yes to. So you've gotten permission, which is great. Now what do you do? So if you are going to use this content online, I would say definitely leverage other related hashtags. We know that many small businesses, your followings might be small. You might have a few hundred or a few thousand people who follow you on social media. But the great thing about social media is that there's lots of other people out there who are able to discover your content. And hashtags, especially on Instagram and Twitter, they've become a really important discovery tool. And Instagram is really investing a lot in this in particular. So if you see here, for example, on the left, if I search for Alberta, there are so many different tags related to Alberta, and just the tag Alberta has 6 million posts. So there's a ton of content out there. But what the second screenshot shows here is that as an individual, you can actually follow a hashtag. And there are people who do that. So for example, I follow hashtags of certain interests that I have. So I have an interest in local business or in shop local in Toronto. So I can follow hashtags related to that, which means I'm going to see content that uses that hashtag. So spend a little bit of time looking at some of the most popular hashtags or relevant hashtags in your destination, and use those whenever you're posting. And we do see that when you do post this content with a hashtag, the research has definitely showed that you can get a lot more engagement. And I would say that this is a really quick and free thing for you to do that I would recommend you take advantage of. This is an example of someone who, again, has done a nice job of using hashtags, but doing it in a way that still provides a good experience to the person who's looking at the photo. So what you can see is her first comment only uses 3 hashtags, because it really allows me as someone who's scrolling through Instagram, I really can just look at the caption, which is what I really want. And then she adds other hashtags as her first comment to really keep the caption clean. And so this is another thing that we encourage is that, and this is sort of a best practice now on Instagram in particular, is make sure that you have a great caption, because captions can really go a long way. And if you want to leverage these other hashtags, do it in a way that still keeps your post looking really clean. So we've talked about reposting. We've talked about leveraging other hashtags. Certainly, we are here today as a guest of Wheatland County, and I certainly encourage you to do what you can to really connect with your local, regional, and provincial destination marketing organizations so that you can let them be aware of your content so that they can amplify it. We work with over 800 DMOs, and we always hear people saying, we want to see more of this local content. And so, Travel Alberta, Destination Canada, they're looking for great content like this. So tag or encourage them to see this content by using the right handles and hashtags. So for example, this is the Wheatland County website where they have these beautiful image galleries of the social content. If you add these hashtags, which are listed here, I've listed a few. Certainly the first two, I think, are the ones that are really, most popularly used, but I've added a few others here as well. If you use these hashtags, you can really allow your content to get seen, which means it's more likely that it can be pulled into other people's websites and into reposts of their own with permission. So the final way that you can get your content connected to your DMOs is something that we're doing together with these destinations. So we have a product called Connect, which is free for small businesses to use. It's basically a way for people who are using our software to be able to bring in more of this content into their CrowdRiff library where they can find it and use it. So again, you can see this photo, which you've seen now a few times. On the left, you can see that Mattress Factory is the destination or the museum where I had posted this content. If you are connected to your DMO, any posts that you make, like Mattress Factory does on the left, that DMO is going to be able to see it. And then if you look at this middle piece, not only is the DMO going to see the content you post, they're also going to see the content other people post that tags you. So here I have @mentioned Mattress Factory, which means that Visit Pittsburgh can actually see this content without even having to search for it. If you go to the right and you see sort of a peek inside the CrowdRiff software platform, which destination marketers are using, my photo is in there, and I didn't even, in this case, tag the DMO. So all to say that there is a very easy way for your social content to get on the radar of Wheatland County. This is something that we're going to be working on with them over the next few weeks. So in the future, you might see an email from Wheatland County that says that, Wheatland County wants to showcase your content. You will have to sign in and agree and connect. These are just a couple of little steps that you'll see here. So all of these instructions will be sent out in an email. But I wanted you to know that basically there's some really easy ways that you can connect your content to your destination marketing partners. So we've talked about sourcing visuals. We've talked about amplifying these visuals. The sort of final thought that I want to leave you with is that today's travelers are visual decision makers. And it doesn't matter whether they're local and they're just going out to grab a coffee, or if they are someone from Calgary who's coming out to Wheatland County for a day trip or maybe a long weekend. People are more and more turning to visuals, whether the visuals on your website, on your social media, in your brochures. There's a million places where you can use this content. And we know that visuals are really the primary medium that people are using today to really decide what they're going to do, especially around travel. So I encourage you to really think about how you might be able to use visuals for your business. And I know I've covered a lot of different things, but I would say just start with one or two of these ideas that I had, try them out. Definitely continue to stay connected to Patrick and his team so you can hear some of the things that they're doing to really help find and amplify this content. And if you have any questions, I welcome them. Please feel free to contact me anytime on social media or by email. And Patrick also has my contact information. Happy to connect with you later.
That's great, Amrita. It's also nice to hear that you got an element that that users can use to connect with us as well coming up. So and we'll definitely push that out with since we are we do have a subscription with CrowdRiff and are using it on both infinitewc.ca and wheatlandcounty.ca. So that's great. So I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Yeah, we really enjoyed working with you and your team, and I know you've got a lot of small businesses that can really benefit from marketing advice. So really nice to see that you're putting this together to help people just prepare for the months ahead.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, we're pretty new to these social platforms ourselves in Wheatland County. We do have a pretty good Facebook draw on our Wheatland County municipal side, but the Infinite WC is a year old now, and we started from nothing. So it's so we can dive in and be green with the other ones, so like our businesses in our regions. So yeah, definitely exciting.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, no problem. And yeah, definitely everybody who's watching this later, follow up with Amrita at CrowdRiff and us with the Infinite WC. And yes, thanks again, Amrita, and I'm sure we'll be talking soon.
Sounds great.
Okay, thank you.